Hello and a very warm welcome to Forbes India presents Catalyzing the Future of Customer Conversations in association with Exotel. Welcome to an engaging panel discussion that delves into the dynamic realm of customer experience, CX, in an era defined by rapid digitization, globalization, and ever intensifying competitive landscapes. The distinction between success and obscurity hinges upon a singular fact: the ability to craft an unparalleled customer journey. And as the cloud computing revolution and the digital native enterprises reshape industries, the canvas of customer experience is absolutely changing. Today, with our seasoned industry experts, we shall speak of trends, challenges, and prospects in this ever evolving space. Joining me today, Yogesh Nehra, President Technology Upgrad, Vivian Josie, COO Axio, Saurabh Kishore, CTO DealShare, Jaiprakash Sharma, Executive VP Technology Operations Info Edge, Angira Agrawal, Global SVP GTM and Strategy Exotel, Pankaj Goyal, CTO Bharat Pay, and KV Deepu, Senior President Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to this very special panel. Angira, let me start with you. That will also help me set the context. Exotel, as we know, is a leading full stack platform and a virtual telecom operator that drives 70 million plus conversations every day for about 7,100 business across India, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and Africa. What have the learnings been for you? How have automated processes evolved? And how are they enhancing the overall customer management and experience?
Yeah, thanks, Mugda. And very excited to be here on this panel along with some of the other speakers. For us, it's been a very interesting journey over the last few years as we've seen more and more automation being driven across organizations. Right? And the biggest element, of course, has been that how do organizations move from having multiple channels to move into a true omni-channel environment where they're actually able to work across voice, messaging, um, and now conversational AI, which is the buzzword that everyone speaks about. And what we've seen here is that the way the automated processes come together, how is it that they're helping users, how is it that they're helping consumers of various services actually get a much better experience than they would have otherwise. Uh, there's been, of course, a lot of conversation around Chat GPT. Only recently has it been overtaken by the Chandrayaan 3 moon landing. Right? Otherwise, everyone talks about Chat GPT, and our experience has been that while it's very initial days yet, and organizations are still figuring out how they can move beyond the pilots, the testing that they are doing around the impact it can have on customer experience, and actually across the customer life cycle, right? So, right from the point of time of marketing to sales to customer onboarding, and of course, customer operations along the life cycle of the customer, what's the impact that can be felt? The biggest area where we've seen an impact and multiple conversations we've had with organizations is around um, aiding customer agents to be able to engage more effectively. Right. So how is it that information that is picked up across channels, the customer wrote an email and then reached out on a voice call and then reached out over a chat? How is it that all of it can be summarized? And let's say, if I am a customer service agent for ACs that are getting serviced, how is it that I can use a summary of that information to be able to deliver a much better experience? And it can also, of course, reduce the amount of time I spend responding to a customer, trying to gather information, right? So the painful times when the agent tells you, can I put you on hold for a couple of minutes as I understand what's been going on, can actually disappear completely. So that's where we have seen significant impact being felt across industries, be it banking, financial services, insurance, be it consumer goods, white goods, and be it even in terms of any other services that we look at.
Interesting you talk about that because today we have stakeholders from virtually all the leading industries, and it'll be good to know how they are looking at their CX strategies. Vivian, Axio calls itself a tech-first financial platform marrying technology and decision sciences. How can organizations integrate data and insights from different channels to provide a unified and consistent customer experience?
Right, Mugdha. So thank you. So I think, overall, I feel that, the entire integration of having your automated responses, chatbots, virtual assistants, and, all the AI recommended engines, right, have significantly transformed the way businesses interact with customers and how they operate internally, right? So I think if I have to go back to what exactly we do and specific to my domain, I would probably highlight three key factors which are important. One is I think it significantly helps in workload offloading. So basically, routine and repeat tasks can be handled by, let's say, chatbots and virtual assistants. And what this does, it frees up human agents to focus on more complex issues that require critical thinking and empathy, improving the overall job satisfaction and effectiveness, right? So it's like probably just picking up, top 3, 5 inquiries that come in every single month, and that can be just automated altogether, right? I think the second thing is also about scale. I think as businesses grow, such processes can effectively accommodate increased, workloads without proportional increase in human resources, right? And I think the scalability contributes to cost-effective expansions as well, right? So I think these things make a difference overall.
Right. Saurabh, if I can get you in, Deal Share is all about crafting extraordinarily simple tech solutions to help Bharat shop with ease, right? I think I've gotten it right. So, to help now this Bharat to go about its business, you are helping people by providing them with affordable catalog relevant to the user's location, assuring a fruitful online retail shopping experience. So, while ensuring ease with these automated processes, what has your experience been when we talk about potential risks and some of the ethical considerations?
Uh, so I think, as you know, or you rather summarize, that we deal with the users and the customers, especially in the tier two, tier three markets, right? So these are the markets which are not very matured. A lot of e-commerce companies in India today, I think their solutions are more targeted towards a tier one market, slightly more matured customers, and maybe slightly higher income group customers as well as what they target. But I think what Dealshare is trying to do is trying to capture the tier two, tier three markets, maybe middle class, lower middle class to middle class kind of income group. Uh, Now, some of the nuances of the doing the business in these kind of markets are slightly different than maybe the more mature tier one markets, right? Because from infrastructure standpoint, from some of the if I take an example of the last mile delivery, right? Basically, the address identification of the customers to whom we deliver, right? These are not very structured customers in a lot of smaller cities, right? These are the people who kind of give very, very unstructured addresses, right? The way we have solved the model is we have partnered with a lot of local players within those areas who kind of know these areas very well. So even if that address is not appearing on the Google Maps, then still you can still find those addresses and you can still deliver it, right? Now, in these kind of an unstructured markets, in these kind of solutions that we are still solving for, I think that's one area where we are trying to solve a lot of these things through the data, through the local knowledge. And I think that exposes a little bit of a risk from a business standpoint that if you're partnering with certain local players and they not able to perform the way you expect or they don't deliver on certain KPIs that you have set up for the business, it might lead to some level of risk to the business and even some, maybe I would say, people sometimes don't follow the process the way the company is set up, right? And that could lead to some issues with the customer deliveries and the last mile and so on and so forth, right? That's one area. The second is the deals that we offer, right, they typically are offered in are structured in such a way that addresses a need of these customers, and that also leads to certain level of, I would say, abuse of those deals where unwanted people may also place in orders and things like that. Now we have given a lot of access to our delivery boys where customers can directly reach out to these people, and we have implemented certain solutions for in terms of enabling the customer interaction directly with the delivery boys to handle some of these challenges, right? So I would say these are some of the risks. These are some of the solutions that we've implemented, or rather, some solutions we have implemented in terms of having a direct connection with the customers with our delivery boys, right? So I would say this is how some of the things we are dealing with. And of course, through the call centers, we have the implementation, we have implemented the chatbots. I think some of the things that already the previous speakers talked about, right? So all the solutions are there basically for enabling those interactions with the customer directly with us, with our company, whether it's through a chatbot, either it's through a customer support center or directly to our delivery boys to just take care of some of those potential issues or the challenges the customers might be facing.
Do one round of we'll do one round of quick opening comments. So I'll get Yogesh in here and talk about the upgrad experience. Well, Yogesh, from enrollment process, from various channels to course content, instructor engagement, support, assistance. What have been the key strategies and technologies that have enabled your organization in this whole edtech space to create absolutely seamless experiences for customers at various touch points?
Yeah, at Upgrade, what we try to do is we try to break our entire customer journey into majorly two parts, and then of course on the sub parts of it. The first part we say that we acquire a customer and then make him get paid for a course he willing to buy. It's a technical e-commerce kind of scenario, but more sophisticated because it's about selling a course, not a product which can just deliver. So that's the first part of the acquisition journey. We divide it further into multiple parts, and every part is solved with a different strategy. Its solution and key metrics are measured on that particular subsection of every customer. So if I talk about acquisition journey of my learner, we'll say we'll help him to do the course discoveries, and then course discoveries right now we are doing through multiple channels. Some of them are website, app, and of course the conversational eBay and the chat support we do with that. Then once the customer is aligned and discovered the right product he wanted to involve with, we also involve the human interactions in the same time to make him understand the product more better, what the products can help him in achieving his career outcomes. And once the customer is aligned with the thought process of buying a product, we help them, we help that learner to shortlist, because that is the additional qualification marks check we do, that are you eligible for that particular course, because different universities have different implications. And those are completely automated shortlisting process we adopted in the customer journey. And once the customer is shortlisted, we give him the different payment options, loan assistance, financial assistance, to make his learning more affordable for him. And once he's aligned with this all, we will give him enrollment to a course. So all of the entire journey is fully automated for a customer, and assisted by the human intervention wherever the career guidance is needed for a customer. And once the customer is involved with us, we start his learning journey, and we again divide this learning journey in 4 parts. The first part is when the learner is doing his course completion from 0 to 50% of the course, where we align him what is the objective of this course, what is the outcome he wanted to achieve with this course. We make the learner understand the entire process of how he can achieve his outcomes, and what are the things he should be studying. And in that part, we guide him through our career expert advice what kind of the specialization he should be selecting in that particular journey. So we change and dynamically align, personalize the entire learning journey with help of track selection and specialization selection. Then we, once the customer, the learner is moved to 50% to 100% of the journey, we adopt the technologies which will help our customer to take the assignments, get the grading done, do the scorecard. All of this are fully automated with help of the technologies. And simultaneously, we have adopted a lot more conversational chat section and chat support in during this entire journey. That will help the customer or a learner to get the faster response for the simple and transactional information. And wherever there is a information which is needed to be more complex and need a human emotions, which we
Right.
are right now is possible, not possible, but we believe that in the near future it will be possible. So we are adopting the technologies that will help us to get the assistant done to the human assistant. That's mean the career counselor will be assisted with the conversational technology through which he will able to answer with a lot more context about the learner and a lot more context about his career trajectory he wanted to achieve. So in this phase of the journey of our learner, the learner actually ended this phase with getting a career center access where he will be transitioned to the career. And then third phase is of course
Right.
help him in resume building, preparing him for the transition, for the outcome he wanted to achieve, with the help of human supported assistant.
Wow, that's like quite a few uh, tech touch points, and at every level, there is tech involved. Let me just throw in a poll for all our audience here, and then come back for the rest of the questions. Well, time now for a quick poll and some audience engagement. So I'll just put that graphic on your screens now. So the question is, in your opinion, what is the most significant challenge businesses should address while implementing AI-powered solutions like chatbots and recommendation engines for customer interactions? And your options are: A, ensuring ethical and responsible AI usage; B, balancing automation and human touchpoints effectively; 3, safeguarding customer data privacy and security; and the fourth is D, adapting to change legal and regulatory requirements. So punch in your choices and let's see what the primary sentiment is. And also, if you have any questions, please do take this opportunity to type them in and send it to me. And, I will put it to all our guests here. So while we wait for the first set of answers to come in, Jay, if I may get you in here, your canvas is vast. We have recruitment, matrimony, real estate, education, the works. When leveraging cloud computing and AI technologies for personalization, what are the challenges in handling and processing these large volumes of customer data? And how then businesses ensure data privacy and security?
Thank you so much, Mugda, for inviting me here. First of all, I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes,
I
sir,
guess
you are.
I guess so. Okay. So, I mean, yes, certainly the way like you had explained. So we say like we touch every human, at least in India. I mean, we are certainly expanding across, but I'm saying like at least in India where the business is focused at this moment, we touch every humans like who is more than six and above. So like from my education, from my once you complete your education, we assist there. Then we help you to get your first job. Then maybe like on little maturity, we guide you from the education portals as well simultaneously, and then we'll help you place a premium job. And then it is your choice whether you want to get married first or do you want to go and find a real estate for you. I mean, whatever is your choice, you can pick it up. though we are available both the places. And then again, we don't leave you. I mean, from that time onwards, like once the engagement happens, like we have many invested companies, like where we assist you in whether it is related to your insurance, whether it is related to your any kind of like purchasing, maybe food deliveries, further education, and all those stuff. But focusing back to the point, like I always say, like the kind of portfolio we have, we manage the customer experience based on three or four things basically. That's our thumb rule. One is like always be available for the customer. So by any means, by any media, only channel you want to talk about, like be available for the customer. Then we listen to the customers. So always listening is one thing, like where we collect a lot of feedbacks from the customers, take that as in data, as an input. And based on that, like we do a lot of automation in terms of like finding the customer insight, so that we can provide a personalized experience. And once you have that personalized experience, I'm sure like people get delighted. And we lastly leave them with a touch of innovation, I call it. So yeah, in all the sections, so since the businesses are different, the data points which we collect for every customer, for business, different businesses are different in nature. And in some of the business, specifically, if we'll talk about like matrimony or maybe on the jobs itself, if I need to focus mainly these two, I mean, we need to ensure like there are a lot of PII information we get it. So certainly scalability is a challenge, no doubt. But yeah, we manage so far things so efficiently. We handle a lot of diverse data. We ensure like we have some places like we have a real-time processing, but we only consume those data for real-time processing and put it on the insights, on the customer insights, which we need to really provide them on real time. Otherwise, like if we can maybe like dissect some of these things and maybe do offline processing on certain things where we can show them as a trend for their career journey, you call it, or maybe help them in their searches, any kind of searches. Probably that can go offline as well. So in all these, during this journey, we need to focus a lot on latency piece, on handling the diverse data. And when we talk about like when we are collecting so much of PII information, we need to ensure that whether it is the data exists on in transit or at rest, need a proper encryption or need a proper at least the governance. So in case if we need to implement access controls, anonymization, whatever is required, like we take care of all those things. So the specifically we share the data only with those people, or maybe like with those inter departments as well, where the data need they have a requirement, or we call it like it's a need to know basis. I mean, these are few things probably like we take care a lot. Ethical consideration of data uses is something like which we follow as our ground rule. Hence, like privacy or focusing on privacy is by design. So I mean that's where like we were quite I would say like little being into this online business, being into from as a premium organization or premier organization, probably we have a little edge. And that's where like when DPDP was announced, we were quite at a stage like where we can say like, okay, we don't need to do a lot of work, rather like we need to understand the bill and a bit new things we need to carve out, how we can control over the complete data. But otherwise, like this is something like which we follow a lot. And the last point which I will touch upon is like the legal and IT alignment for compliance is very, very critical. because like the in a nutshell, if we talk about different businesses, being a public listed company, being a SEBI registered, we have to be aligned with all the land of laws. And that's where like establishing the data governance across departments or across businesses are very critical for us.
Noted. Pankaj, quick one with you. When we talk about digital transformation, it has to be simultaneous and seamless. How important is it then to leverage social media, mobile apps, interactive technologies, everything to create that immersive and interactive CX? What has been the experience with you at the organization? How easy or difficult is it?
Yeah. Hey, first of all, thanks, Mugda, for inviting to the panel. Really appreciate that. Bharat Pay, as fintech, we are serving about millions of small businesses, right, across the board. And one thing is pretty evident, that our merchants, consumers are increasingly getting a lot more sophisticated and demanding and very digitally savvy with the global exposure across the board, right? So when it comes to organizations like us, providing a, a seamless UI experience is not enough today, right? From a customer's point of view, they do expect us to provide a very immersive and a seamless experience at every stage of their journey. So some of the things which really helped us, kind of leveraging a lot of technologies to provide this seamless experience, is how we are able to capture um, the uh, the experience requirements at every touch point of the customer journey and be able to map that out end to end very seamlessly, kind of orchestrating the customer journey over there, and then leveraging the data to provide a very personalized experience at every stage, which is extremely important to engage customer at a very deeper level, right? So some of the things which really help us to capture the attention and in certain cases kind of also engaging at the emotional level is using various digital channels and technologies such as web, mobile, social media, video chatbots, virtual reality, augmented reality, voice, and a lot of these technologies are used across different products and solutions what we are providing today. So one thing I recall, I'm not sure you guys came across, during the last festive season, we actually did a campaign, my shop, my ad. This was done with the cricketers Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. And, this is where we actually partnered with rephrase.ai to provide AI-powered synthetic video creation, platform where we provide a very personalized campaign for our merchants, right? So this campaign actually enabled our small business merchants to be able to create very customized advertisements for their own shops, right? And we also kind of enabled them to share these advertisements with their end consumers, right? So which was an extremely powerful uses of the technology to create that deeper level of emotional connect with our customer base, right? We also very extensively kind of leveraging the data to personalize the CX experience. There are multiple areas where we have been able to successfully leverage this. There is plenty of opportunity for us to be able to analyze the customer behavior end to end, detect kind of patterns, and use those insights to make some strategic decisioning at every point of the customer touch points, right? Internally, we have been leveraging a lot of this data to underwrite our customers, right? We do process a lot of payments for our customers, and then later we also provide loans based on some of these insights. And then we also use a lot of these insights to be able to provide a better support experiences, right? Because today it is not just enough that we provide a seamless UI, but also provide a greater support at every point of time, and also kind of free up our teams internally to be able to focus on the larger pain points, while the customers is able to get the support at the time when they need it. So these are some of the things which is really where we are using the technologies uh, at BharatPay.
Lovely. Thanks for sharing that experience of Bharat Pay, particularly. And Deepu, if I can get you in, you come from a legacy organization, and insurance as a product demands not only building trust, but retaining that trust, retaining customers, and also have an edge from competitors. And how have things developed for you over the years, and what role has AI played in optimizing organizations' sales, marketing, customer satisfaction, revenues? I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be kept in mind. So, how has that panned out at yours?
Yeah. Thank you, Mugdha. I guess the challenge with going last, is how to keep your answer interesting. So I'll keep it brief and share a couple of examples. You spoke about insurance, and I think our focus to make ourselves relevant, and important to the customer has been to pick the moments that matter. And if you look at the insurance customer life cycle, the moment which really matters, the moment of truth, as we call it, is the claims process. Because you buy an insurance policy so that the company can come to your aid, when you are in trouble. So I'll just share an example, which will tell you how we've leveraged AI to make the customer's life simple. Let's take a case of a motor insurance policy. Now, traditionally, in case you crashed your car, you would call up the insurance company. They would find a surveyor nearest to the site of the crash, send him over. He would then assess the extent of damage and submit his report. Then the insurance company would go through the report and then get back to you with, the finer details. Now, this whole process, can take time. It takes days, right? So we said, how do we crunch it? And you won't believe it. Today, thanks to AI, up to certain amounts, you can do it in 20 minutes. And in case, the audience or, my co-panelists are wondering how, let me explain. So now what we do is, in case the customer has a car crash, unfortunately, he doesn't have to call the insurance company or the surveyor. The customer can take photographs of the car and then submit them using the mobile app. It's a two-step process. At our end, we have an AI engine which has been taught using years of expertise. And this engine will quickly assess the images and convey the extent of damage to the customer. The customer gives his consent, and then the money is transferred. So this happens in less than 20 minutes. So that's how we've been able to leverage AI to make the customer's life simple. I have tons of other examples where we have leveraged AI across the entire life cycle. But in the interest of time, I'll just stick to this and then maybe share more as we go along.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm surprised. Just 20 minutes and this is sorted. That is really game changing. All right, I have the results of the first poll. So let me just quickly take those in, if I can have that on my screen. All right, 42% of you believe that balancing automation and human touch points effectively should be prioritized. Interesting. So the question was, in your opinion, what is the most significant challenge businesses should address when implementing AI-powered solutions like chatbots and recommendation engines for customer interactions? So human touch points is still something that people are pining for. Very interesting. Angira, you want to step in on that one, and then I can quickly get the second poll.
Absolutely, Mugdha. It's very interesting. And, the other three options that were given, in my mind also, this option stood out very clearly, right? So while we all get very excited about automation, chatbots, virtual assistants, the reality is that the human element remains critical. And I'll use the example that Deepu brought up. When you have a crash for your car, at that time you're mentally hustled and you want life to be very seamless and fast, right? At that point of time, if you're going through loops where you have to set up a context every time, explain, hey, what happened? And maybe you send out an email or you upload the images through an app. But if someone comes on the line, a human comes on the line, and you have to explain again as to what happened, it's annoying, right? Because at that moment you bumped your car, hopefully not worse, and you want quickly that claim to be settled and things to be resolved, right? So humans will still continue to play a very, very critical role in this interaction. And there are enough, comedians who speak about how chatbots or automation will not take away jobs. So I'll not talk about that. I'm sure we can find that on the internet. But it's interesting that what today chatbots can do is actually aid this human to do a better job of having a context set. One of the panelists spoke about context, right? When I, as someone who's trying to engage with a prospect or customer, by the way, the customer experience journey actually starts when the customer is a prospect, right? So even when you're evaluating buying insurance or evaluating buying an education product, is when the whole customer experience starts, right? So when I'm a prospect, how is it that the organization gets the information they need, but they set up a context and they're able to serve me effectively across, right? So humans will continue to play a role. Maybe they will not play a role where I'm just querying what's my insurance premium. Again, Deepu, I'm picking up on your example. But humans will play a role when the question is a lot more complex. Vivian spoke about how when there are more complex questions that come in, how is it that chatbots can play a role? So if I, as a customer service agent, am able to respond or have the information available to me in a ready manner, there's a huge impact that can be made today. Eventually, at some stage, and we don't know when, will it be 2040? Will it be 2050? Will it be 2030 for that matter? Maybe the human interaction element will get reduced significantly. But in today's world, at least in the next couple of years, I don't see human interaction going away at all. It's only about how will tech enable that human to be more productive and effective, is what we have seen with organizations we work with.
Right. Vivian, if I could get you to chime in on this question that we are now addressing via the poll, which is how to strike that balance really. And I don't see human interaction, in fact, going away, because a lot of times talking to a chatbot is one of the most frustrating things that people have reported. So how to seamlessly move from that point where you sense that your customer is getting agitated and get a human to address this? At what point, and does the technology actually assist you in doing that in time?
Right, Mugdha. So I think I just want to add to what what Angira was talking about. So I personally think that it's extremely critical in achieving a balance between automation for efficiency, and then there's a human touch points for emotional and personalized support, right, to deliver optimal customer experience. I think it's important that we embrace like technology, like AI and natural language processing to enhance both automation and human interaction, which could help to strike the right balance, right? So I would probably break this down into a couple of points. I think it's important for us to understand the complexity and the nature of the interaction. So we can assess whether the interaction is straightforward or complex. I think, like I mentioned in my previous response, that the routine inquiries can be just automated. However, interactions requiring in-depth, let's say financial advice, dispute resolution, or emotional support are better suited for human agents to take over, because they can empathize and share the expertise as well, right? I think to further go a little deeper, I would say to identify the customer preference and segmentation. So we got to understand customer preferences. So if we can segment the customer base based on, let's say, factors such as age, tech savviness, right, probably transaction history, etc., I think this gives us a balance to allow us to offer automation to customers who prefer self-service, and we allocate human resources for customers who value personal interactions, right? And I think the final thing, and probably this is something which could be then the future, is chatbots with emotional intelligence. I think this basically means that customers can easily switch between channels, and they're always able to get the help they need when they need it. So you can use tools like chatbots, knowledge base, self-service portals, and make it easy for customers to find information when they need. But I think it's also important that there's always a human agent available if help is needed. I think which goes in a long way to strike a balance between automation and the human touch point.
All right, time now for a quick second poll. Let me put that up for you on your screens. The question we are asking is, what strategies do you believe are most effective in integrating data and insights from different channels to deliver a unified and consistent customer experience? Option 1, implementing advanced data analytics from cross-channel insights. Option 2, standardizing customer communication across all touchpoints. Option 3, developing a centralized customer data management system. And option 4, training employees to maintain consistent customer interactions. I'm going to let that linger on the screen for 5 seconds more. All right. I hope you got that. And all right. So go ahead and punch in. And I'm going to quickly take that poll result as soon as I finish my question with Yogesh. Okay, Yogesh, getting you in, what factors should organizations consider when deciding which customer interactions should be automated and which ones require human touch? Just taking Vivian's thread forward and taking into account customer's preference and the nature of interaction, and how quickly should this switch happen? Your deliberations on this question.
My understanding of this human and human-led or automation-based conversational interaction which we do with the customers, finding as all the panel agreed that finding that equilibrium between the human touchpoint and the automation is important for every organization, and it's different for use case basis. It is different for organization to organization. The organizations like us, which is in EdTech or in the workforce development sector, we try to focus and measure it, implement this automation in the 2-3 ways. One of them is giving assistant in the simple transactional questions. That is, we all agree that can be automated. But when it comes to the human emotions, and right now, previously the technology is not enabling us to do that, and that is not easily available. But at this point of time in the era of LLMs, it is actually available for us. So we will try to adopt these technologies, giving the assistant to to our internal teams, and measuring that how it is gonna to be giving the answer. It is relevant to the customer, it is helping to the customer, and constantly getting this feedback, and then getting more and more automation in the inside teams for having the customer conversations. Once we identified few of the use cases that can be now open up to directly to the customers, we have started opening it up with the customers for those use cases as well as we also giving the constant in real time human touch if the customer feels that the automation or the chat support or automated conversations is not helping him to achieve the same. I think at the last point, I'll say that every company has the different equilibrium for them, and they have to balance between identifying the automation percentage that will enhance the customer experience, reduce the operational cost, and deliver the positive sentiments to our customer or NPS to customers.
Noted some great points there. But I want to now pivot from customer experience and satisfaction of the people we are targeting, and really to understand beyond customer satisfaction and loyalty, what measurable business outcomes and competitive advantages can be achieved by leveraging cloud and AI for CX personalization. And if I could get Saurabh in on this one.
Elaborate a little bit more on your question, right? What exactly you meant by business outcomes? I mean, I just want a little bit more context to your question. Can you hear me?
I was just saying that apart from we are using AI, we are using all these tools to make it a seamless process for the customer and for a great customer experience. But there is more to it as well. How can processes also gain from it? That was my question.
So I think at the end of the day, the bottom line is how satisfied is a customer, right? Through all the interactions that they're having with you, right? Now, one of course measurement, a simple measurement is the NPS that gives you a measure of the customer satisfaction. Now, whether you enable that satisfaction leveraging the technology or as we discussed with the human touch, there are a lot of tools available right now, right? And sometimes, as you also mentioned, that the over automation could also be a frustrating point for the customer, right? So the bottom line is we need to see, looking at your customer base, right? As we also discussed, for each company, that strategy could be different. It also depends on what business you're in, what products are you selling, what is the demographics of your customer, right? What kind of a customer you are dealing with. So everybody needs to arrive at the right solutions. We need to look at the customer satisfaction index, work backwards from there, right? And then we need to really find the right balance, as we talked about, how much technology is giving you the right outcomes for the objectives that you have, and how satisfied the customer is through that service, right? So I would say one metric is, of course, the NPS, that what is the customers, kind of are satisfied with the service, what feedback they're giving to you, right, about the products, about the services that you're offering, right? That's definitely the one. The second thing is, I think over a period of time, especially if I look at an e-commerce kind of a business, right? One of the metric itself could be that our interactions with the customer, especially around the complaints, around the inquiries, should go down, right? So the one of the measure could be, let's say, the number of calls per order itself, right? So the endeavor of every business is that we should not have a lot of non-productive kind of conversations with the customers where people are just simply calling you for doing an inquiry or a complaint, right? How we can enable those interactions through technology in a very easy manner, that the need for those interactions, basically it's a non-productive time even for the customer. If they just, if they want to do a product inquiry, they want to do the order inquiry, they just want to look at whether certain inventory is available with us or not, or whether I'm delivering it in their area or not, right? Technology should enable that. These, I don't think, are very productive conversations, right? So over a period of time, we also need to have that kind of a metric, that what interactions we want to encourage with our customers, both outbound and inbound, and what interactions are not so productive and can be avoided, right? So I would say these are the metrics which, in my mind, probably can be a good starting point for us to start building those strategies and start giving us a sense that how our customer interactions are being productive or non-productive.
Right. Deepu, if I can get you back in on this particular question, and then I'll jump onto the poll result.
Yep. I guess since we all are very eager to know the poll results, I'll keep my answer very quick. When you look at business outcomes, and I think that's a very relevant question, because firms cannot keep on investing, without seeing tangible results. There are broadly three buckets. The first is, to the point made on NPS, you look at customer satisfaction, and this satisfaction is all encompassing. You look at customer satisfaction overall, and you also look at customer satisfaction across various touch points. Now, this is what we call the softer aspect, because it's customer satisfaction. It's not tangible financial results. The other is, based on the products and services that you have rolled out, using customer feedback and, customer VOC, you also look at your impact on the bottom line, which are the products and services, which are gaining traction, right? Where do you see higher cross-sell? Where do you see higher upsell? Are your products per customer going up? These are the tangible, financial results. The third, which goes beyond the softer and the harder aspects, is to look at, intangibles, such as brand value. While you cannot measure immediate gratification, but you can look at, overall impact, which you make over a period of time. So I think these three buckets, lend direction to the whole effort of measuring the impact of your customer experience strategies.
Fantastic. We have the poll results now, and here they are on your screens. Interesting to see how option A and option C have played out really well, which is implementing advanced data analytics for cross-channel insights, very interesting, and developing a centralized customer data management system. So these strategies are believed to be most effective in integrating data and insights from different channels, as we had asked. Interesting answer there, Pankaj. मैं आपके पास आऊं उससे पहले I want to take the next poll as well, so that we get a little insight into what our audience is thinking at the moment. And audience, please also send in your questions. All right, so yeah, this is an interesting insight, and perhaps I take the next poll, and then we can talk about these particular results with Pankaj. All right, so here is the poll, which is: what do connected customers conversations mean? Number one, conversation with customers you know, omni-channel and contextual engagement, multi-channel customer engagement, none of the above. All right. Start punching in your answers and what your thoughts are, and we will get them in. Pankaj, your view on the previous poll and also the one that just came up.
Yeah, no, I think what I saw from audience, right? I mean, one of the challenge from an AI standpoint clearly came out the customer data platform, right? So I think this is obviously one of the roadblock which most of the organization face. That data is mostly in silos, right? I mean, you have typically multiple the products and various systems, and the data is kind of residing in those specific systems, right? So it kind of becomes very much important that how do we unify this, because most of the AI or Gen AI or ML solutioning would require access to tons of data what you have in the organization in a very organized manner, right? So unless there is a view to the entire end-to-end customer profile in the organization, the leverage of these technologies are going to be limited, right? And of course, I think second roadblock, which typically kind of comes up, is how much do we invest in these technologies, right? I mean, from a leadership standpoint, because most of these technologies takes time to deliver ROI, right? And there is always a challenge about that, how much we should invest, and and so this is again a constant battle for the organizations, because the results are slow and it takes time and effort to get the right level of results. But once you start adopting this, then I think one of the panelists already spoke about the challenges related to data privacy and security concerns, right? Because once you kind of start leveraging a lot of this data, because these technologies need extensive training data sets for you to be able to use this, then it comes the need for data protection and privacy policies in the organization, right? So typically, by adopting encryption or better access controls, or your audit and security checks, right? And you need to protect the sensitive information, right? So just to summarize, I would say, it's important from a business standpoint to have a right balance between how much information are we sharing to get a meaningful and positive insights on the experience, while at the same time respecting the privacy and data risk for our customers.
I'll take that thread forward with Jay. Jay, let's talk about the legal and regulatory considerations that businesses need to navigate when implementing cloud-based CX strategies, especially as Pankaj also mentioned, data privacy, compliance, and also cross-border data transfer. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, these are few things specifically for with the digital transformation. This has been gifted to us that we have to be much more now cautious about how we are consuming the data. And once, I mean, just want to bring it the attention again back to DPDP bill, which is just a couple of months away, probably. because once that will kick in, trust me, especially for businesses like us, where we have a different line of businesses across. So many people or many other organizations, what they do or they say is like, okay, it's a single organization. It doesn't matter. Even if my business line is different, I can still use that data, consume that data without the consent of the customer. That is going to become a big challenge, and this is what specifically called out in DPDP, that while collecting the data, we need to declare with the customer and take the consent of the customer that where I'm going to use that data, what is the purpose. And in case customer defines a timeline that after this my data need to be cleaned up completely and you can't use it for any other purpose, you have to create those boundaries, so that time the regulatory or legal considerations plays a big role. So you call it whether we are kind of we name it as DPDP, or we call it like a GDPR, CCPA, all kind of the data private regulations we need to comply along with. We have to take the clear consent while we are collecting the data, we are processing the data, because in both the things, if there are any glitches, there is a heavy penalty for the organizations as well. So and there would be a mechanism in the system itself, while we are taking the data from even if the customer is given a consent, but he any point of time, if he wants the data be cleaned up from the system, there should be a provision, and we need to provide that evidence. Otherwise, there is a huge penalty. So while collecting the data itself, how do you protect the privacy risk? This is something which every organization need to look around, and especially when we call it we have a different line of business. Trust me, legally I cannot consume a data of a customer who has come for a matrimony into maybe online job portal, or maybe for the education, because that's being a SEBI register, being a listed organization, there are certain things which we need to declare. And same thing qualifies for cross data or cross border data transfer as well. Because especially EU and US transfers. See, right now we all know about there is a international court of justice, but how much is the organizations or across continent countries follow those things? Those are few caveat still there in the system, but yeah, most of the organizations are pretty mature, and I'm sure once they start addressing these data privacy and compliance and start following those regulations, I think cross border data transfers as well will be followed religiously. And maybe these are few things I would say unless until we stay updated on the evolving regulations, that's the way forward to ensure uh, we safeguard your organization and as well customer data with any kind of breaches or any kind of wrong uses of data.
Great. Let me take the poll results now. And Deepu, I know you're in a hurry to leave. You have a meeting, but I just want you to chime in on this one particular data set that the poll has thrown in. What do connected customer conversations mean? And most of them believe multi-channel customer engagement, followed by omni-channel and contextual engagement. There's 4% on none of the above as well, but conversation with customers, 16%. All right, Deepu, very quickly then, your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Mukta, can I
Thank you,
come in
Mukta.
for a second? Mukta, can I come in for a second? I
Sure.
need to drop off for something very urgent. Can I excuse myself, please? This is Saurabh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so
Sanjay.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I was just saying, thank you, Mugdha. If you look at connected customer conversations, right, and we spoke about the human touch earlier. You see, when the whole gamut of digitization started, the accent was on digitizing the physical. And what we have seen over a period of time is that while customers want the efficacy of bots, they also want empathy and a human touch, because customers don't call you during their good times. They call you during their bad times, which is why now the accent has shifted from digitizing the physical to humanizing the digital. So how do you get the best of man and machine? So to give you an example, if let's say a customer were to come to a bot, and if the bot does not understand what the customer is saying, he is not asked to terminate the chat and go to the website, or send an email, or go to the call center. A human being comes in and he then takes it through to completion. So for the customer, there is no drop or break in service. At the back end, we maintain an inventory of all such conversations which the bot could not handle. And then by using AI and NLP, we keep teaching the bot. So the bot is learning all the time. So even as it gets better, customers are not seeing a break in service. So that's one thing, which we have seen. We were able to really connect with customers and make it happen. And the point on multi-channel and omni-channel is taken, because what happens very often when firms have call centers, emails, bots, mobile apps, portals, you might find that customers get a better service on one channel as opposed to other channels. Whereas firms need to endeavor to ensure that the experience is consistent across all channels. Otherwise, you will find that customers start gravitating towards one particular channel. So I think keeping these two aspects in mind, the human bot interaction and consistency, I think takes you home.
All right, Vivian, just giving you a quick round for the closing comments. What would your suggestions be?
Yeah, I would probably echo what Deepu was mentioning, right? And I think today customers have a lot of means to reach out to us, right? And it could be on bot, it could be email, social media, right? Sometimes over the phone as well. So I think it's extremely important and critical that all of this can talk to each other at some point, and ensure that the right information goes out to the customer, and that has to be seamless and real time, and that's what I would probably end up saying.
Great. Coming for the last bit to you, Angira. When we talk about traditional practices, and then we talk about the transformative practices now, how do we foster a digital native mindset and encourage cross-functional collaborations to drive digital transformation effectively?
So it's very
That would be
interesting,
my last
Mugdha.
question. Yeah.
It's very interesting, Mugdha. We often get very excited by tech for the sake of tech, but as long as it doesn't solve a business problem, it fundamentally has no role to play, right? And there are a lot of organizations that start adopting tech without being clear of the outcomes or objectives. One of the panelists spoke about this earlier on. And I think it's extremely critical that when uh, traditional businesses or transformational businesses or traditional processes or transformative processes come into play, the outcome should be clearly defined. And then only the technology should be put into play. Otherwise, 6 months later, someone would stand up and say, hey, this adoption of tech that we didn't really work out. This experiment, this pilot didn't really work out. But the actual reason could be that the outcomes were not defined, and there was a parallax, so to say, in terms of how the outcomes versus the implementations were done. So that's my view on how this will work.
Thank you so much, Angira, for wrapping it up. And gentlemen, this was an extremely insightful session, and I thank each one of you for your precious time and deliberations on the subject. I'm sure our audience also took back a lot from this interaction. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to our audiences for watching this very special telecast. Thank you.
Thank you.